Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Daily Life series, as we get into the daily life of a Catachan civilian. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day. And of course, if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. And don't forget to share these videos with your friends, guys, if you find them interesting. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the daily life of a Catachan civilian. Located in the Ultima Segmentum, Catachan is the most infamous Imperial death world in the galaxy. The planet is covered in a worldwide dense jungle, and its entire ecosystem seems consciously hostile to all foreign life. This deadly planet was colonized during the Dark Age of technology, long before the Imperium of Man was established. The very first colonists were deceived by the planet's calm green appearance. The probed readings showed a world rich in biological resources. Unfortunately, the first colony ship crash-landed on the planet, and all rescue attempts proved to be unsuccessful, as ship after ship was dragged down to the green planet's surface. Trapped with no way to escape, the colonists began to establish their base. They quickly discovered themselves to have arrived on one of the harshest and most dangerous planetary ecosystems in the galaxy. Each and every element of the native flora and fauna of the planet presented a real danger to the colonists. The only way the colonists survived was by securing themselves in their spacecraft against a living, besieging jungle, a battle for survival in which undoubtedly many of them died before they finally managed to learn enough about their new homeworld to survive, if not thrive, beneath its jungle canopies. The colonists developed human settlements on Catachan, circled around their crash-landed colonization ships. They learned to defend these fortresses by clearing out the surrounding area and creating a vast plain, which provided an improved line of fire. It was difficult to expand each settlement, as vines and lichen took hold everywhere. Crushing bunkers and poisons would melt any material being used for construction. Even now, buildings must constantly be rebuilt, for it seems that wherever the people of Catachan build structures, the jungle redoubles its effort to destroy them. Early colonists also experienced the harsh nature of the planet's native wildlife, which would grow large enough to push the humans out of their fortresses, leaving no other choice than to create a new settlement elsewhere, where the process would inevitably repeat itself, meaning that no human settlement on Catachan would ever truly be permanent. This constant nomadic jungle fighting bred extreme survival skills in the planet's inhabitants. When Catachan was rediscovered during the Great Crusade, the Imperium quickly took note of the incredible resilience these fighters possessed. Loyal to the Emperor, Catachan gladly became one of the galaxy's prime exports of hardened jungle warriors, the Catachan Jungle Fighters. Unlike other regiments who are trained to be Imperial Guardsmen, these soldiers prove their worth simply by surviving on their death world. 50% of the planet's human population does not survive infancy, and 50% of the remainder does not live past the age of 10 solar years. This is due to the countless animals and plants of Catachan that have evolved potent biological attack and defense mechanisms against other life forms, particularly humans. The Catachan mantrap is a plant which, while having a similar name to another notable Catachan flora, the Venus mantrap, it uses a much more aggressive hunting technique. It can move its leaves around, actively searching out prey and clamping its jaw-like leaves around its victim. Once trapped, it is almost impossible to break free from the powerful bite of a Catachan mantrap. Only by severing the plant's leaves from its vine can the victim loosen the bite and wiggle out of the trap. This is if he hasn't been bitten again by another one of the plant's wandering jaw-like leaves. The inhabitants of Catachan have learned that agility and quick thinking is really the only way to escape this trap. That and a good flamer. The sucker tree is a plant that is fairly harmless looking to the untrained eye. It is simply a fungal growth on top of a seemingly normal trunk. However, the trunk can twist and turn when it detects prey, bending over to drop its suckers on top of the head of its victim. It quickly drains them of their life fluid and then flings the corpse away to ensure that future victims are not made suspicious by a pile of bodies. The spitting cactus is a deadly form of jungle cacti that is able to fire toxin-coated spines directly at nearby prey. The Catachans have learned to cultivate these spines from these cacti to give to the magoxenologists, who began work on creating an antidote for the poison, but quickly turned the research into finding a way to weaponize the poison. The Connect floater is a bizarre and deadly plant filled with lighter-than-air gases, and it drifts across the planet with the flow of the wind. It has sensitive feeler tentacles, which detect warmth and moisture above the normal local levels. This is usually to uncover streams, hot springs, and other sources of water, but unfortunately, it is also sensitive enough to detect the temperature and moisture changes caused by humans. When it finds such a place, the floater explodes, scattering its seed pods over a wide area. These seed pods have a diamond-hard outer casing with razor-sharp edges, and will scythe through anything within range. Catachan inhabitants have learned to always be aware of the wind's direction in order to catch a glimpse of the Connect floater before they detonate. The Miro Catcher is a ground-hugging vegetation which has roots that are extremely sensitive to vibrations in the ground, such as might be caused by an animal wandering past. It looks harmless enough when dormant, but when it attacks, huge tentacles whip from its many frilled maws and lash out. They carry a paralyzing toxin which acts almost instantaneously upon the prey. This toxin has been diluted by the Catachan people, and can also act as a very potent painkiller, which comes in handy in such a harsh environment. The spiker, another deadly plant, fires its spikes into its victims' bodies, which contain the spiker's DNA, and unleash a series of mutative chemical reactions, which literally transform the person into another spiker. Whenever struck by one of these deadly spikes, the victim is often euthanized before the mutating effect takes hold. This is not done out of fear for the safety of the group, but rather as courtesy to the inflicted, because of how painful the mutation process can be. The strangle plant prefers shady spots to grow in, where its distinctive tube-like trunk is hidden from view. When it detects the air disturbance caused by a passing animal, its long, highly adhesive stamen uncoils, wrapping itself around the prey and dragging them back to die of dehydration. Catachan traveling parties that come across screaming victims will often stay away and not provide help out of fear for becoming victim themselves. Where there is one strangle plant, there will be more around it. Also in the canopy, above the branches of the spore tree, holds dangling flowers which launch a cloud of spores when they detect something moving close by, to carry their seeds to other fertile areas. The spore cloud is so dense that the creature which disturbed the tree often chokes and dies. This is also useful for the spore tree, as its victim's decaying body will enrich the ground around its roots. The Venus mantrap is a carnivorous plant whose analogous species are common to many jungle death worlds across the galaxy. It resembles the Terran Venus flytrap, for which it is named, but is far larger, and unlike the flytrap, it is not stationary, but is able to move its leaves to attack and consume its prey. The mantrap consists of a number of mobile leaves attached to a single immobile stem. The brain leaf is another carnivorous plant. It is a small tree, not particularly conspicuous on Catachan, but is able to attach its tendrils to the spine and brain of any animal, taking control over their body. This creature may actually be a genetic offshoot of the tyrannid cortex leech, a creature with similar abilities that was cut from the hive mind and went feral. As well as deadly vegetation, Catachan is filled with even deadlier wildlife, like the most infamous Catachan devil, a voracious insectoid predator looking somewhat like a many-limbed Terran scorpion or centipede. They can be as long as a land train, but are very bulky and slow-moving, which means that the escape is possible for an unlucky human who confronts one. There are also many types of reptilian serpents on Catachan, including the flying swamp mamba, the coiling death cobra, and the Catachan black viper, and all are deadly to most living beings. Some have toxins that are so powerful they can kill in under 30 heartbeats. The barking toad, although appearing benign and harmless, are literally volatile creatures. The creature is easily startled, and anything it finds threatening is liable to cause it to explode in a cloud of toxins, which kills anything within a wide area, including the barking toad itself. The barking toad toxin is virulent enough that even respirators and sealed suits, such as power armor, offer no protection, and no other known substance can halt its destruction. They are known as the most toxic creatures in the galaxy. Catachans are named on the account that they always attack their prey's feet or souls first. One bite from this insect will put a full-grown man into the infirmary for a month. 2 bites will give them around a day to find treatment before dying, and 3 will simply kill them outright. Vein worms secrete an ooze that numb their prey when they bite, so that they cannot feel a thing. The worms then dig their way into the prey's skin and into the bloodstream to lay their eggs. The eggs will spread all around the host's body, and when the larvae hatch, they will eat their way through the host's brain, heart, and bones. There is no known cure for vein worm once they have entered the bloodstream. Drake bats are ogre-sized, winged pseudo-reptiles that lurk amongst the upper canopies of the equatorial jungles of Catachan, descending from the treetops to ambush and devour unsuspecting prey. To kill a drake bat at a young age is a sign that the adolescent will grow to be a strong warrior. The threat of disease is also a constant hazard on Catachan, as there are many varieties of poxes and fevers that can kill a man within a few solar hours, due to the world's fertility microbiosphere. Many of the plant's native insects also carry virulent diseases on top of being poisonous, meaning that a single bite can be lethal in more than one way. The world does not just breed diseases in its fauna. Most of the more virulent microbes cannot be seen at all, floating through the air until they find a host and enter their bloodstream. There are lethal swamps where a single breath of the fog will burn an intruder's lungs out, causing a long and agonizing death. Even the water itself on Catachan can prove fatal to drink as diseases and poisons flow through it. Foot rot can occur after just a few solar weeks within the jungle, where the rotten feet will detach from the host's legs, producing a vomit-inducing stench. As such, many Catachans consider disease to be a greater enemy than any beast or man-eating plant. There is a constant evolutionary battle on Catachan, as the human population constantly adapts to the horrible diseases. Those young adults that made it through their childhood alive have tougher immune systems than the typical imperial citizens because of it. But it's never long before a new strand of a disease or bacteria adapts alongside the human immune system, creating an even deadlier disease. Because of this, many genitors have been drawn to Catachan for the simple purpose of studying the incredible resilient human stock. But most attempts have resulted in failure, as those same genitors succumb to the diseases they are attempting to study. The Catachan population must always be cleansed and inspected before leaving the planet. Fear of an unstoppable virus or disease born on Catachan and spreading throughout the Imperium is a realistic catastrophe, until every precaution to prevent this from occurring has been taken. What this means for the Catachan population is that not only are they stranded on their birth planet because of an environmental condition, but unless being recruited to serve in the Imperial Guard, they are prisoners in their own home. Rumors have begun to spread on the existence of Nurgle cults within the Catachan population. As death and disease runs rampant throughout the people of Catachan, many outside the Death World have speculated that the survival of its people is due to the chaotic gifts of Grandfather Nurgle. This could not be further from the truth, as Catachan has proven itself pure of chaos taint time and time again. Most recently, after the formation of the Great Rift following the fall of Cadia. Catachan was caught within the malignant Warp Rift and exposed to a massive demonic invasion. However, when Gilliman's Indominus Crusade arrived on Catachan, its Astartes found that the local Catachan regiments had already dealt with the threat on their own. The people of Catachan do not fear death like the rest of the Imperium, making the promises of eternal life offered by Nurgle less tempting. Overcoming their demise through their own wit and strength is ingrained in every inhabitant of Catachan. Their secret is the anticipation of danger. In this way, they are prepared for whatever threat presents itself. Constant vigil over an environment that would kill in the blink of an eye is necessary, and the Catachan have become experts at staying ahead of their predators. Children are educated from the moment they are born on recognizing the different perils that are present all around them. Plant and wildlife are memorized, and the young Catachan are taught to always have an exit strategy. The best way to defend oneself from the planet is to kill it before it can kill you. Catachan are taught that if it moves, it must be burned. Flamers are the cornerstone of survival for the Catachan. Children are taught to build a fire before they are taught to read or write. Those Catachan, lucky enough to grow older, learn how to use the environment against itself. For example, a Catachan knows how to lure a drake bat into the sticky reach of a sucker tree. This valuable skill becomes a necessity for any citizen that wishes to live a long life on this planet. Travel into the jungle of this death world is inevitable, as fortresses become besieged and their inhabitants forced to migrate to safer locations. Catachan know that traveling in large groups is dangerous, but to travel on their own is a death sentence. This is why the Catachan people form strong bonds with their fellow man. There is very little warfare, if any at all, amongst the Catachan tribes. Every group understands that in order to survive, there must be cooperation and trust. If a traveling party comes across a sole survivor from another tribe, the newcomer will be treated with as much respect as any other. That is, of course, if they are not being controlled by a brain leaf. Tribal markings are common amongst the people of Catachan, and each tattoo or marking often tells the story of a great misfortune that the bearer has overcome. These markings are also used to denote the status of an individual in the tribe. Skull designs are the most common, as they serve as a constant reminder of the possibility of death right around the corner. These keepsakes strengthen the Catachan's courage in the face of destruction. And those were 40 facts on the daily life of a Catachan civilian. If you guys enjoy our videos and you guys enjoy what we do, don't forget to support us on Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. If you can't, we understand. Like I said before, simply liking, commenting, and sharing, it really helps out the channel. But with that said, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gersh1 with the One Mind Syndicate, signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation. I knew I never had that much to lose.